Chris,
Hey,
it's been a minute.
it has.
You've had quite a few changes.
You've had a child.
I've had a child. She's 1 year old now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
it's amazing. Highly recommend that journey if it's on your path.
I have one.
You
It's
do?
just in the form of a physical building.
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure, 100%.
Yeah.
Ramen del Barrio.
Ramen del Barrio.
I feel like last time you were on, you had a lot of attention and it was internet attention.
Yeah.
And then now you have establishment
Sure.
recognition.
Yeah. We made it.
You made it.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It's still the continuation of the pipe dream. Like, it doesn't always feel real. I'm trying really hard to kind of appreciate it more and more and allow myself to recognize it, because the imposter syndrome is as strong as ever, right? Like, whatever self-worth you'd think this has given me is just kind of displaced and dissociated from myself, the individual. You know, like, I don't credit myself as Ramen del Barrio. It's just, that's Ramen del Barrio, and I'm still over here not content with me. But from the pure perspective of enjoying running Ramen del Barrio, it's so awesome. I think genuinely people now like treat us differently with the accolades. They're significantly more patient in line. And I think that comes down to the fact that, you know, before they walk in and they're a skeptic.
Yeah.
But they've kind of already been told that it's worth it now from sources that they want to trust. And granted, I mean, like, the food was always the food, but that word of mouth, I think now 2 years later, our return clientele is awesome. I have people I see 2 to 3 times a week. I have corporate groups that come in every Thursday, like 20 at a time. And yeah, I think people think we have a star. We have the Bib Gourmand, and that's the only thing that's kind of funny is, like, almost 8 months now since the guide came out. Every single food blogger is Michelin starred ramen. And I'm like, look, I've corrected this too many times. It's still corrected. I'm just going to let people think that.
Go. Yeah.
But if I'm asked in person, obviously we have the Bib Gourmand, which is honestly, to me, a great honor. I still aspire for the star, and that's still my personal goal for the brick-and-mortar space whenever that is finally solidified. But I think it's the perfect award for what we're doing right now, right? It is in this food court. It's super accessible, right? Like, the seafood options on the menu are of the highest quality and reflect a price completely different to anything else in Austin for the seafood we're using. And it's a super accessible meal at in a place that you're just not going to find that quality of food. And for the value of the ingenuity of it, it's a really cheap entry point, right? It's just a unique experience, and it's not going to cost you much to get in.
Yeah.
So,
and what's crazy is from the research I've done, you are probably the youngest James Beard semifinalist for Best New Restaurant in America, which is fucking wild. And then also, you're at least in the top 3 for Bib Gourmand Michelin ever, from what I can find.
So when I went to the gala in Houston for the Michelin Awards, I didn't really realize, you know, there was like, I didn't realize, like, there was the Green Star, there was all of these separate awards besides just the Bib Gourmand, and then the tiers of stars, right? The brackets of stars, the 1 through 3. And we're sitting there. I have a few friends with me from Austin that all traveled up there, and we're rooting each other on. The first category is just the Michelin recommended comes up, and I was like, oh, maybe that, you know, I was just happy to be there. I was like, maybe that's where I'm getting in.
So you didn't know?
I didn't know.
Did
not know what I was getting.
Yeah.
I was totally prepared to walk out of there with nothing. I was just trying.
Is that possible? Like, could you go and just not get anything?
I don't know.
If you
because
get
they invited.
Yeah.
Because there were a ton of people there, and some of them from all over Texas. So it would be a shame to have been invited there and not gotten something. But there were also probably 300 people in that dining room at least, and there weren't that many awards. So no doubt lots of restaurants totally brought large portions of their crew, or like upper management if it was like a restaurant group, because we had multiple restaurants here in Austin that all fall within like the Emmer and Rye group, I'm pretty sure, that received different levels of accolades as well. So they no doubt had a large group of people there. But, you know, speaking of youthful awards, one of the ones that came up very early on was rising young chef or something like that. And I was like, oh, I mean, there can't be anybody here younger than me, right?
Yeah.
And they go on to describe the award, you know, so someone achieving incredible things at an early age. And I'm like, this could be me. And then they gave it to Edgar Rico of Nixta Taqueria.
Oh, hell yeah.
Who's 35ish maybe.
Yeah.
And I was like,
He's a
okay.
decade older
I was
than you.
I was like, bro, that is not like. I'm like, first and foremost, super happy for him.
Yeah.
Because that is just one more thing that adds to his incredible journey. He is a winner of the James Beard, and that is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
And Neeks does an incredible place, right? Like, no hard feelings there whatsoever. But in a moment of humor, I'm like, dude, like, that's an old man.
Yeah.
Like, I am sitting here at 25.
Yeah.
I'm not getting any younger. This
Yeah.
would have been the year for me. But nonetheless, right? Few more rounds of awards go on, and then we get announced with the Michelin Bib Gourmand. And that is just, you know, the same weekend that the awards took place, we came back to Austin, and the cold season just hit. Like, it dropped 15 or 20 degrees that same weekend.
Yeah.
And that just winter just took off.
Yeah.
And we just haven't looked back, honestly, since the Michelin Awards. We've seen increase of sales month over month right through these warmer months now into summer. So super, super thankful to all the people of Austin and anyone who's, you know, traveled. We've had people from Dallas, Houston, Laredo, like all sorts of people come through, and it's so cool to know that, you know, I don't even have signage right now in the restaurant, and it's become a really, really incredible destination restaurant, and I'm super proud of that.
For sure. It's a fun mecca. I like taking homies that when they visit up north and checking it out, for sure.
Absolutely.
I feel like you've put a lot of pressure on yourself. You know, you are only 26 now.
27.
27.
I'm
okay.
almost old.
You're almost old. You're getting there. 27. You've been running this business for 3 years.
Basically, February will be 3, so 2.5.
2.5 years
with a few months of prep time and getting it ready. Sure, closer to 3. Right in the middle between 2 and 3. Yeah.
And you you have a huge staff that you have to work with. You had investors that you're able to pay out. You're trying to figure out how to build a brick and mortar. How are you doing?
Business wise, my life is kind of set. Personally, the mental health is an issue. I am worse off mentally than I was when we last spoke, for sure. But the story of growth continues on the personal side and the business. I'm trying to take better care of my body. I've probably put on like 15, 20 pounds since opening RDB, and that's just the stress, the food, and then the stress eating, right? Like, it's just been so tough for me. So I'm trying to, like, you know, I'm running right now probably 30 minutes, like 3 times a week at the gym. And then I obviously have a full day in front of me, but just like tasting is so hard. I'm fully aware that I did not build a healthy kitchen to eat in, right? Like, RDB is heavy hitting. And I think also, like, the balance of personal life with work is everything they chalk it up to be. Like, if anyone out there is wondering whether it's as hard as they say it is to do it, yes, it's exhausting. I have a twitch in my eye nonstop on the left one, just goes off all day long. Yeah.
What's the game plan, man? How are you gonna? Because if you want to, do this for another 10 years, 20 years.
Yeah, which I do, honestly. It brings my life purpose. I think ultimately I need to get this brick and mortar up and running, develop the staff around it, because I can't get into details, but I don't necessarily have the longevity I would have liked to have in my current space. So there is a sense of urgency to find my next location.
Okay.
If I were able to stay there indefinitely, I'd already have a cash cow. Like, my rent is low enough.
Yeah. Start a second one.
My sales are super high.
Yeah.
I could essentially just sit on that property for 5 years and have enough funds to build a brick and mortar out of pocket.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
No problem. But there is a sense of urgency. So I do have to now go out there and find that brick and mortar space. And once that's done, get that round of loans paid off, because everyone sees the business and what it's producing, and you assume I'm very well off, but I just bought out my first investor, and I now have 100% control of the company. That was $250,000 right there. So that wiped out any war chest that I would have been building for myself, right? Now I'm going towards looking at the brick and mortar. That's going to wipe out a second war chest, if not take out loans on top of that. So, I have $3,000 in my bank account.
Yeah.
I pay myself like I pay all my other employees a base salary or an hourly rate, depending on what you are. But yeah. So brick and mortar has to get up and running. It then has to get to the point where it runs itself. and then I can really take a step back and see what I want to do next with my life. What do I want my time to look like? Do I want to reinvest myself in this one location and then just carve out a 40-hour work week for myself within my own restaurant, or a 30-hour work week within my own restaurant? Do I want to come in and just work the line and write specials? Because that's honestly, like, you know me, you've met me, years back now, and ultimately at my heart, I'm just a line cook. I just want to come in, prep my station, cook some food, and go home, and not think about, I am not a business person. I hate that element of this. The lessons of trust versus mistrust and deception and trying to gauge people and learning to not trust people at face value has been this depressing experience for me, of learning that I can't actually just trust people for what they are and say. And I learned this every single day, that I am so naive and trusting, and that part is what's been just turned me off.
Yeah, that's from heartbreaking, dude.
The heartbreaking aspect of it is the fact that to be a true business professional and to get ahead, the easiest route is to be the cutthroat. And that's what you're mostly going to find out there.
Yeah.
I've found very few people who would rather do good business than smart business.
I think especially with restaurants, because it's such a competitive environment,
and
for
the margins are
talent, and margins are tight.
Yeah. It's tough.
One thing I think you do a really good job, to give you business credit from what I've seen at least, is, and not a lot of people communicate this, but whenever you're doing price increases or changing up the menu, you explain it really well. And I think that's super cool, because it's something I never think about or I'm not aware of. And you have to really get it down to, like, your margins are so specific, because every bowl is going to make $1.50, $3, whatever it is. And each taco, like, maybe it's something you break even to bring people in on, and you have to, like, game plan that.
Well, if I'm making $1 off my ramen, I should just kill myself.
Yeah.
That's not a good margin. That's not keeping the lights on. If I'm doing 355 bowls on Saturday and I made $1 off of each of them, bro. Oh yeah. So honestly, Ramen del Barrio's margins are great, and I account that for two things. One, I've done a responsible job of costing out my menu to still be accessible and affordable, because it's not the cheapest ramen in town, right? There is far cheaper in ramen in town. That may be Tatsuya, but they also have a commissary, right? They can absorb all of their prep labor for all of these different restaurants under one roof. Yeah. It's still one pot going to all this. It's just bigger, right? Yeah. So they save labor there. We're a one shop.
And that's also, they have no innovation, and it's not interesting. But okay.
Well, Tatsuya has soul, and it has flair, and it has their own unique take on Japanese ramen that I think is unique to them. Yeah. And it's
not unique because it's the same.
Well, it's not traditional
all
either.
Austin. I know, but it's just like,
sure.
I'm just literally saying, like, since it's just one menu, it just, like, took over all of Austin. And so, like, you made something innovative, but you have to be, like, really far north.
So, I mean, I would love to be as central as possible. I don't know if that's going to happen with the brick and mortar locations that I'm looking at right now. But ultimately, if I stay as north as I am and secure the brick and mortar, that just leaves room for something deep south. Yeah. And then, that's one of those options for thinking about what's next once I get this brick and mortar up and running is, do we focus on opening more Ramen del Barrios, or do I try and do something else? Yeah. Do I want to branch out and take that gamble, right? Yeah. Obviously, I have a proven formula with Ramen del Barrio that would succeed in many cities across the United States. Wherever there's a Latino population, it will have a culturally significant reason for being there, right? Certainly with a Japanese population as well, but I think at its core, everybody knows ramen, but for it to be embraced, it needs to also have that the presence of a Mexican population to then explain itself for being there. But I think, as far as ingenuity goes, I was really surprised that the barbecue ramen Tatsuya failed, because I told myself, I'm a Mexican restaurant. We're in Texas. If Mexican ramen should make it in Austin, barbecue ramen should definitely make it.
I really enjoyed it, actually, too. I thought a lot of the bowls were super interesting. Like their anchovy.
The Nebo.
Yeah, Nebo was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Absolutely.
Their, like, Texas chili bowl. Like, I was really hyped on that.
Yeah.
My guess
I heard that the rent on that
That's what I was gonna say. They
is-
spent so much money building out. That was so nice.
I think they opened at the start of summer too.
Yes,
so
that would be 100% my
opened
guess.
to
It's like,
bad
how do you
numbers.
sell enough ramen bowls to pay for this
And it's a
fucking
massive
thing?
space.
It was huge.
It's
dude.
massive.
It was
I'm
beautiful.
looking. My
Yeah.
range is like 2,600 to 3,000 square foot.
Yeah.
I think it had to be 4 or 5, maybe.
It was huge and like really good location, and I was sad, but I was like, I don't know how you can sell enough ramen to pay for this place.
You know, I think like for me, I don't remember how far we got into it last time, but the thing I envy the most and respect the most about the Tatsuya group isn't the food, but it's the capacity for producing their vibe.
Yeah.
Their vibes are immaculate, right? I don't think there's anything that's better representative of what they want to do than themselves. Like, it is so clean in there. Their ability to create a space that represents what they're trying to project is so cool. And that's so much of what I've learned. As far as like when I think about building my ramen shop, I am absolutely inspired by everything they do there. Yeah. It's
especially for how to scale a business too. And one thing that to give them their flowers is they can have this core business driver around, you know, the ramen that they can put out from a commissary kitchen and just crush every day. But then they do invest in, you know, tiki, they invest in dip. They invest in kamari, they invest in Domalegato, they invest in the barbecue place to try and make
diversify.
dope shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, you know, I mean, you know me,
you're
I'm wearing
right now.
I'm wearing the
yeah.
Kimuri shirt right now. Yeah. That is the last place I ever worked before doing my thing, and Kimuri is the sole inspiration for Ramen del Barrio at its core. I've since found obviously other things to pull from, but the formula for fusion that they have between the Texan roadhouse and barbecue meets Japanese izakaya tavern is a beautiful, warm, and rustic, comforting spot to me. And I think that right there is what allowed me to see a formula for doing Japanese Mexican fusion is relying so heavily on the warm, rustic elements of both.
Yeah.
And as long as it just, you know, it's
for sure.
It's slowly bringing things together in ways that make sense, not just slapping things on the wall and seeing what sticks.
And I feel like, not that it ever was that way, but it felt like the menu was a bit more chaotic a few years ago. And I feel like they've made it so dialed now. Like the last 3 times I've been there, I feel like the menu has been fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like everything, and you get like all the little funky things, which are super fun.
Shiokata is awesome.
And
Do you
now
like
it just
it?
feels...
Do you like shiokata?
I mean, it was fun.
So it was an acquired taste thing for me. The first time I had it, I loved the initial salty, cheesy flavor of it, but then the taste of ammonia and death that follows is intense.
It's tough, dude.
It's tough. I can now actually joyfully eat it as long as I'm like sipping a beer or something with it, because it is drinking food, right? It's 100% drinking food, and that's why it has such a cool place on their menu.
I can't say I enjoy it for sure. I have actually started to appreciate natto though, which I'm happy about.
Natto, see, that one I'm still more on the fence about. Like, I could definitely eat it with some rice and soy sauce and wasabi.
Soy sauce, wasabi, like some rice wine vinegar. I've gone to like for breakfast. I've really enjoyed it. But I got this one from New York that's like organic New York natto. Comes from Amazon, frozen, and it was actually like I got to the point halfway through. I was like, no, this is delicious. And I got used to eating it every day, and I was like, I like this.
You like taco wasa?
No, dude.
You know, like
I haven't been able to ever
wasabi?
enjoy that, dude. Oh no, sorry. I do like taco wasa.
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah.
Yeah, the shiokata though, you just
I can't do it, bro. Yeah, octopus fermented in its own guts is just not my fucking thing.
I like it. I like because so yay or nay blue cheese.
Love blue cheese.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah, the same vein for me. It's just stinky funkiness. You know, like I dated a Vietnamese girl for 4 years, so I'm very familiar with like shrimp paste. Like fish sauce is one thing.
Yeah.
Shrimp paste is in a league of its own.
Okay.
It's just gray goop.
Yeah.
And it gives off that same ammonia smell of death. But you add some lime juice in there, some chilies.
I'll have to give it
Really
more of a
good.
shot for sure. Just the first time I had it, I was literally just like, "Whoa, this literally tastes like a fish market floor." Is my best guess.
Yeah. No,
What
it's
this tastes like.
it's an intense smell, but you know you have to activate it with certain things that balance it and give good contrast. And that is honestly that's like the entire way that I cook. My entire outlook on food is just balance, which you wouldn't think when you think about the food that I put out there, right? Like Japanese, Mexican, fusion food. What sounds balanced about that? But it's in the flavors itself, and it's in this basic principle that no matter what you make, even if you, the home cook, is not necessarily technically proficient in executing the dish that you want to make, as long as you have balance and contrast in all the right places, You have sweetness, you have saltiness, you have fat, you have acidity, you have crunch, you have gush. As long as all of these things are present, no matter what the actual delivery of it is, it's going to be a nice bite, right? So I think like one of my favorite examples of that is like Vietnamese nuoc mam, like dipping fish sauce. So it's fish sauce, lime juice, sugar, water, Thai chilies, garlic. It's funky, it's acidic, it's sweet, it's salty, it's pungent. And so many different elements balance each other out, right? And then you're dipping it with like fried spring rolls or fresh spring rolls, right? Or any number of things. But it's this balance doesn't necessarily mean it's not potent. You can have something that is powerful and punches you in the mouth and still be balanced. So have you had the spicy tuna tostada at the shop?
Think so.
So it's a fried tortilla, the pureed guac, bluefin tuna just mixed with little Kewpie, and then our chile de árbol red salsa. Really simple like steps there. The fun component we have on there is the chicharrón furikake. So furikake is like a seasoned crunchy bit mix that you could sprinkle on your rice traditionally, right? We crush chicharrones that we just store bought. We fold it together with shredded nori, shredded bonito, crispy garlic, sesame seed for a really delicious furikake. And we sprinkle that on top of the spicy tuna. It then gets like eel sauce, which we make in-house, and then our own salsa macha. But what you have here is this textural contrast, not just flavors, but textures. You have crispy tortilla, creamy puree of guac, nice, firm, delicate tuna, more crunch on top with the chicharrón furikake. You then have spice, but you also have the sweetness from the eel sauce. You have smokiness from the pork, and it's punching you left and right. But every note still has its contrast and still has its balance from an opposing force. So I don't have to be technically proficient in sushi. I mean, I still can't make a quality nigiri. I can make it look like I can for the camera. I'll mold it, but I mean, God, you try and pick the thing up and it's gonna fall apart. Or the rice ball weighs a pound because of how compressed it is.
Isn't it funny that what somebody would think would be just so simple, it's just rice and fish, is actually so fucking tough.
So sushi is kind of like the final frontier for me on what I revere and still yearn to learn. Because I can do maki rolls, and I'm getting relatively proficient with fish butchery and breakdown. Every time my wholesale provider has like a fish that they didn't previously have in stock, I'll always order it at least once, and just break it down, see what its anatomy is like. Because ultimately, I'm not working for anybody else anymore. So if I'm not the person who's choosing to bring in fish, to have fish broken down in-house, I'm not going to get that experience. So I just have to put fish on my menu. I have to break it down. And I can do sashimi and I can do maki rolls, but I still have yet to perfect even remotely any kind of nigiri technique. So that's the final frontier for me of Japanese skills that I still want to master. And then from there, I think like I'd want to dabble into like Sichuan cuisine. Like
that's my favorite. That's my favorite stuff, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Absolutely
Sichuan
lacking
food.
here too.
Yes, in diversity, but we do have some acceptable spots of good quality.
Yeah, House of Three Gorges, I love.
House of Three Gorges is great, and I'm sure we've both had the jumping pepper fish there.
So good, yeah.
The mabo tofu is great, and then the garlic eggplant's always a banger.
Awesome. Yeah.
Have you had the crispy pork intestines?
No.
Have the crispy pork intestines. If there's one like word that can summarize the textural contrast that I'm talking about in any of these dishes, so it has like the most pillowy, crisp, light crunch on its exterior. Then it has this soft, gooey gush right away. Not like a weird there's no stomach bile in there. It's just the texture of the meat itself just kind of gives. So you have this it's like a fried donut almost, like crispy exterior and then soft, pillowy give. And then it's just stir fried like you would any other Sichuan stir fry, like a ridiculous amount of chilies, cumin, celery, onion, jalapeno, things like that, and just stir fried on the plate, dig through the chilies to find the pieces of meat. I think Sichuan cuisine is probably the most intrigued the most interesting thing I've found right now that I would love to like learn professionally if I were to step away from this whole Japanese Mexican experience.
And be sick too, just to like go to fucking Chengdu and go like actually experience it, do research, like that would be really cool.
Because I've been to Japan now, and I think like we probably don't realize that there are some, like, at least from the American perspective, we're probably turned off by the idea of traveling to China. But there's going to be some incredibly beautiful culture and food there that is just locked behind this idea of not going there. And, you know, depending on the political climate, who knows what 30 years looks like from now.
For sure.
But hopefully you and I can still both travel to China freely without...
Yeah. I've been actually hesitant because I've been there before a few times, and I've been obsessed with China since I was a little kid, but I've been hesitant because I did this podcast on January 6th, which is basically not what happened here, but on the exact same day, China moved into Hong Kong and shut down, arrested everybody who had been protesting, arrested. It was something like 40 sitting Democratic leaders in Hong Kong. They just arrested them. Yeah. And just fully took it over. And I was very publicly talking about that a lot. And so I was kind of like,
so yeah, you're on the list. You're on the list.
But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, yeah, it's been a while and I fucking love China so much. I really want to go back.
Yeah, you may be on the list.
Yeah.
There is a list and you may be on it.
Yeah. I have a business idea for you. So basically, when you're mentioning the furikake earlier, there's this day where I just got manically obsessed with onigiris, which like for me are also very hard to mold. I try to do it a lot, but then I was thinking like, how could I actually scale this as a business? And I think that furikake is something in the United States that we could totally build like crazy, like Supreme style drops based off of and go super viral, very cheap to ship like nationwide, could mark it up like crazy because people will really like it. And then they can just apply it to everything at home.
Right. So I've seen an online product before. It's essentially like a mixed vacuum sealed bag of every single dehydrated ramen topping you could ever imagine, like green onion flakes and Naruto fish cakes and all these little things. Yeah. And it's just like a smorgasbord of every, you know, you go to the Asian market and you pick one of every single instant noodle off the wall. They all have different little dehydrated things, whether it's corn, peas, right? And you can just like essentially mix all of your favorite toppings from whichever instant ramen you prefer into any ramen. And I think that's a cool thing. I would love to bottle the salsa matcha or jar that and the habanero. Because I get requests for that all the time. But then you need to figure someone, like I wanted to do a pop-up with Asahi Imports and just like have the habanero on the shelf for a little while, but they don't do bottling. And I would have to go out and find somebody to do that.
I know that's how David Chang was really able to break out, was by selling
different sending cease and desists to chili oil.
That too, for sure. But before all of that, was like literally just building out. I mean, he went talk about somebody's cutthroat in the business side for sure. True Korean, but
trying to trademark chili oil, man. That's
but he
crazy.
did that, allowed him to have so much freedom within the business, was building these other sides that do scale and can scale nationwide and can use his brand
100%. I don't think I ever want to. I don't want to spend that much time on it. You know, I think
it gets far away from the line cook.
It gets so far away from the line cook. If I could write my own schedule, I would work 3 to 4 days a week. I would work one night on Expo, just conducting my kitchen, being the symphony, right? 2 nights as a line cook, just getting my ass beat in kitchen purgatory and making the food that I designed and actually being the person that's preparing it for my customers. And then like 1 day of prep where I'm just making sure that my team knows what these recipes are supposed to be like, that they have everything they need. Essentially just invest time in each aspect of my kitchen and make sure that I know that my strongest resources aren't necessarily my recipes at times at this point. It's more so the ability I have to invest in the people that are in my kitchen and making it the workplace that it is, because I know when they come in, they care and try harder because they want to be there. And that is like one of the biggest things that I've been thinking about, even with scaling up from the current operation to a brick and mortar, right? I have 6 total employees right now. I'll probably be going up to 18 or 20 for a 7-day operation, 10 to 12 hours of business a day, right? That means that my time and attention is being diluted by that many more people, right? So it means my crew knows me not as well as they used to. On the individual level, do they believe and do they see the vision the same way I do? So I know that ultimately what I contribute most to Ramen del Barrio is myself and just the love that I have for it, because it inspires love for it from others too. And that is like, I think if I had one restaurant and I were netting an actual true profits 200K a year, I would be so happy right there. I don't need to have 5 different restaurants running for me to net $1 million in profit a year. I don't even know what I would spend the money on right now. Like if I analyze my current needs, like I would travel a lot, eat lots of delicious food, take care of myself, but I'm a relatively modest person when it comes to the things I want. I grew up in a modest family. Like my parents struggled financially for a huge portion of my life. There were never fancy excursions. The only fact that we were traveling back and forth between Mexico and Maine was for work.
Yeah.
They would work the busy season in Maine and they would work the busy season in Mexico. It wasn't exactly like a leisurely trip all the time.
Yeah.
So I think, there are 2 things I've kind of considered for the next step for RDB, and one of them is to open a second location. And knowing my history, I'm a permanent resident of Mexico. My family owns property there. I can work there legally. Mexico City would be a pretty cool place to open another Ramen.
That would be fucking awesome. Yeah.
Right? It's Chilangolanda.
Yeah.
It's 60 degrees year round, up in the mountains. It's beautiful, and there's a mecca of culture there, so it would be appreciated. It would be understood because people know what ramen is there. Obviously, they know what Mexican food is there.
For sure.
So I think that would kill it there. Now, I don't know the difference between Mexico City and Juarez as far as how you deal with the cartel, but I'm too stubborn to ever pay protection money. So if that were to like arise, I would just say, no, I'm good, bro. I'm just gonna not open this. I'm not gonna do that because I've dealt with that growing up in Mexico once or twice, just a few bumps with the cartels, and it's not something that I want to be part of my life, and I refuse to allow it to be to the best of my ability because I'm a good person. I'm not a perfect person, but I do believe in law and justice, and I certainly don't believe in bullies being able to just enforce their will on others by force. And I'm not gonna live in a place that can happen, because my parents have gotten like messages through like WhatsApp for their restaurant, like deposit money or this or that, and they ignore them. But I have friends in Juarez that own restaurants there, and they do pay like $1,000 a month in protection fees. And it's not even about the money; it's the principle. Like you can't be on the side without my permission. I can't. I can't do that. It would just hurt my ego and my pride too much, and my sense of good and justice. And I'd do something stupid. I would do something stupid, like think I could stand up to them, and then get killed.
Be no more Round Up Barrio. At least wait for another year, because you want to join the 27 Club on that one. I also think Mexico City. Do you think it would be? Because I feel like the Mexico City food scene is like a full tier higher than Austin.
I disagree.
Really?
I think what people get wrong about a lot of foreign cities, at least in my experience, because I have now traveled to Vietnam, I have traveled to Japan, I've traveled to Korea, and I've obviously spent a ton of time in Mexico and the United States. And I think a lot of these international cities are meccas of their own food, and there will be pockets of really, really good food, obviously, because there's more restaurants in Tokyo than I could ever visit in a lifetime. So who am I to judge the actual temperature of the room as far as quality? But in my experience, I had Italian food in Saigon and it was mid. I've had Chinese food in Korea and it was mid. Right. I've had 1,000% better Italian food here in Austin, which isn't saying much. There's not that much good Italian food here. I've had better Italian food here than I've had abroad. And I think just because, like, say, like the Japanese are really, really good with food and they're disciplined and they treat it as an art and craft doesn't mean they're well versed in all of these international things. I think international culture gets diluted no matter what border it crosses. And it has inaccuracies to what it's actually trying to be, or maybe it's even logistics as far as acquiring the right ingredients, right? Like you go to Japan or almost any Asian country and you order a clams, like a clam pasta dish, you're not going to get little necks. You're going to get Manila clams because that's the locally sourced clam. It's not the same thing. It's not as briny in my opinion. That doesn't mean
bacon there is like really fucking
bacon's
different.
Weird, right? So like, and then even in Mexico City, I had some great tacos in Mexico City, but I hit up a bunch of highly recommended places, and I've had better tacos here in Austin. There were a few incredible spots that were blowing me away. Like the lady just making tlayudas right there on the plancha with the blue and black corn blends, and that was the most delicious meal I had there. And there is incredible food in Mexico City. I'm not saying that I mean, it's such a massive city, and I haven't even experienced even a fraction of either Austin or Mexico City's food, but I think Austin actually has a really good food scene. What it lacks, I think, is a little bit more of different ethnic cuisines. Like we probably have too many omakase shops.
Yeah, for sure.
We don't have enough Vietnamese restaurants doing things for Vietnamese people. Because I think like that's like something I picked up on like in Houston and Dallas is that there are these massive populations of these individual ethnicities, and so much so that the restaurants that make the food are by the people for the people, and that changes everything because then it's not being catered to white people that can't handle spice. It's not giving a shit about your dietary accommodations. The price is something that is comparable in the hearts and minds and wallets of the people they're trying to serve, right? Because you know a banh mi here in Austin can run you 12 to 15, and in Houston, some of the best I've had, it's like buy 3 get 1 for free at like $18. Right, and they're loaded, you know. So I think every city on the planet has good food because there's good food everywhere. I think the issue with Austin's food scene is it's grossly overpriced. It's like disgustingly overpriced. And there are a lot of restaurants that I would deem to be good food had they not like absolutely taken advantage of me financially on the way out. You know?
I think back to your cartel situation, one thing that I really respect about you is it appears from the outside that you've taken a very permissionless approach to how you've pursued your career. And I think it's like representative of the internet in a lot of ways.
I watched my dad not give a shit what anybody thinks about him my entire life. And that is not something from the internet, but I've inherited it from him. I watched that man run his life how he wants to, not take, you know, does not run a democracy. Now, I still lead through respect as opposed to authority. But as far as my own decision-making skills, you know, like I've been teetering the line of trying to secure this one of the potential spots for the brick and mortar, and there was a subtenant in there. Excuse me. Essentially, the tenant wanted someone to come in and take the lease. The subtenant was considering it, but didn't necessarily have the financials for it. And I reached out. I said, you know, hey, like I could do this place. And they're like, well, actually, you know, subtenant gets first pick. So I was struggling with the idea of actually just like approaching the subtenant myself and just saying, hey, what are your intentions? You know, like, are you going to sign it? Can you sign it? But I didn't want to impose on somebody else's space and home, right? Because how would I feel if somebody were coming into my restaurant seeing if I could get replaced? And that was such a struggle. My dad told me not to do it, and I just went back and forth on it so many days, and I just went in there this morning. I said, fuck it. I'm asked this guy like straight up, like, what's your plan? So I did it, and it was a perfectly productive conversation. Can't really, I don't know what's happening there yet, but I do crave validation. Don't get me wrong. Like I do think about what people think of me based on my actions, but I am a very obsessive person in the moment with allowing passion to choose what I want to do. So, you know, I think one of my greatest flaws and areas of growth is indecisiveness as a leader in my kitchen. I'll tell my crew one way or procedure to do something, and like 3 weeks later I'll be like, you know what, no, let's do it this way. And they're like, chef, but I was like, I know, chef's a dummy. we're gonna do it this way because now I realize this is better. And I think that like my crew's very patient with it because they've come to kind of like embrace it. But you know, like the spontaneity, it's both my forte and my weakness here. Like I am very spontaneous, I am indecisive, and that has produced as many good outcomes for me as it has headaches for solving things, right? Like sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I say things before I should have. Sometimes I spill the beans or give up my leverage because I'm talking too much. But ultimately, me going and having that conversation this morning also gave me a hell of a lot better idea of what I can and can't expect from that location as its potential. So
I think like one of the skills that you really have, and I think is really important for anybody who wants to run a business, and I don't do it enough for sure, is that not only are you willing to, like, you care a lot, but you actually do the work. Like you have the respect to change something after 3 weeks of your staff because you actually show up, you know, 80
No,
hours a
absolutely.
week.
No, yeah, they know that ultimately, even if chef said something different 3 weeks ago or 2 days ago or even maybe half a shift ago, whatever chef says is the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And they trust that, like, they trust that I know what RDB's vision is, and I know where it's supposed to go and what it's supposed to do, and they trust me blindly with RDB's vision.
Mm-hmm.
They know that as long as they execute their individual parts, that this machine just keeps on going. But yeah, indecisiveness is a brutal thing for me, and they'll always give me a look, because sometimes it's not even about what I said 3 weeks ago. Sometimes I'll be like, let's do it this way, and like they're about to walk away from it. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, wait, no, no, yes.
The exact opposite.
The exact opposite.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and they look at me, they're waiting for like the final no, wait, yes, no.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also think that's like why somebody always wins when, like, whatever you think about Elon Musk, like, he does sit on the floor a lot of times. He is there to, like, think about it, hold the vision, and iterate over and over and over and over again. And it sucks because it takes your life energy away. But in order to create something great, like some sort of great art, and to be proud of it, like, it takes that constant iteration, that focus and drive and attention to that detail, and to be like, no, we're going to do it this way. Then hold yourself accountable if that's not perfect, and just totally, like, striving towards that perfect.
Yeah, but it can't ruin your soul.
Yeah.
And that's what Elon Musk did.
He ruined your soul, or his soul is ruined?
His soul. His soul is
Okay.
ruined.
Yeah.
He may... What is the point of success? What is the point of achieving everything if it turns you into less than what you were before it? We don't have to,
Yeah.
there's all sorts of things. Obviously, he is an incredibly successful person. I don't think any one man should wield that much power, let alone not even be officially part of the government.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, he's out now.
He
but
is
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
But even for the brief second that he was,
yeah.
super inappropriate.
Yeah.
And I get it's a symptom of late stage capitalism, I guess. I'm not a communist. I do believe in capitalism, but I think there is a threshold of which it is healthy, in which, I mean, greed exists no matter which socioeconomic political system we're in.
Yeah,
Greed
yeah.
is greed. That's why communism fails, is because of greed. It's because of corruption. But it's also why capitalism festers, is because of greed and corruption. And I don't think Bezos or Musk are our saviors. I think they're relatively bad people.
In what ways, like, let's take the government out of it, do you think that he wields too much power?
Just having that big of a sway over an entire sector, of an entire aspect of the economy, like Bezos's ability to just completely shutter small businesses by outsourcing and down, and I'm not saying that they set out to do this when they first started their businesses. We all start out small somewhere, but it's the question of, do you really need to achieve this much? And look at what you're achieving. What is it actually doing? Because realistically, now granted, I don't want to say something and make myself look like an idiot, but if I had billions and billions of dollars, I couldn't sleep at night if I didn't drop at least a few of those billions on just raising people out of poverty. Yeah. Because look at those I mean, come on, like the generational wealth that we're putting away at this point could save the current generations. Like, I don't care what your aspirations are. I don't care if you earned and fought for every single penny of that. Amazon churns out money whether Jeff Bezos wakes up or not. At this point, you could go enjoy your life, modestly or not, and you could support half of Africa. I don't know. Like, there's just so much money in the world not being put to good use. I want to hope and stay true to the idea that if I were making $200K a year, I'd be happy for the rest of my life. I don't feel like I'm money driven. Now, if you ask me if I had 10 restaurants right now, and, you know, granted, maybe I have a bunch of foundations up and running and they're doing good things for myself, but I don't know, you have to reinvest some of that money back into society. Otherwise, what are you doing with it? You're just one man.
I think for me,
it's very anti-capitalism, because what motivates, what primes the engine of capitalism is the idea of infinite potential, and the idea that you can build and build and build, and your hard work is rewarded with success. And also, how do you ask the beast to stop producing? How do you ask it to stop growing? Because opposite of growth is stagnation. Like, I'm not an economist. I don't have the answers here. I just know that there's way too much money in way too few people's hands for it to not go to something good at a drastically higher ratio. I don't know how economy works, but I'm probably pro billionaire tax.
Yeah, I do enjoy like the fact that they're like those two people specifically are taking like longer term shots. But with all that being said, I've always been a big Elon fan, and it's crazy that my car drives itself. Like, that's fucking nuts.
Sure. The technology side, the innovation is incredible.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking him for that, but the moment you kind of step out of the role of the head innovator and into messing with politics and funding politicians, like, look, he funded Trump to an extreme degree.
230 million, I think. Yeah.
I don't think any one person should be able to influence. That sounds kind of more like an oligarchy. If money is moving politics, are we truly a democracy anymore?
Yeah. Well, this is where, like, to me, it became like, oh shit, this person, like, even though I think he is someone who I think is beneficial, it was still, when I watched what he did in Brazil, was my moment where I was like, oh fuck, like, even if he had it's not saying I think he's the best, but imagine if I thought he was literally the best human ever born, like the most moral human ever born, even that, the ability for him, like, to basically turn around Brazil's decision because through Twitter, through cutting off Starlink, through all these things. And I was just like, holy shit, this is crazy.
This shouldn't be.
It's crazy. It's too much for one person because it's just like such an obvious supervillain arc. And then I was thinking, like, okay, he could take all the Teslas in the United States and have them stop driving. Like, block off our freeways so he couldn't transport food. He can do nuclear bombs via SpaceX. He can tell everybody it's not happening via Twitter. Then if Neuralink happens, it's like he can also... But then this is the other thing, though, too, is I met the first Neuralink patient ever. And he was 8 years paraplegic. And now he can't walk yet or anything, but he can actually access the internet with his mind. And he actually has some amount of freedom in movement again, and it's just like, that shit's so cool, and I'm glad we're investing in that shit.
So I hold no ill thought towards the idea of progressing society and its technologies to the fullest extent. Like, and it's, I don't know, you and I are sitting here, we're talking about food in a very cutely decorated podcast room, and neither of us have the answers, nor are we going to be asked to answer these questions, and we can speculate all day. I don't think that the trade-off for these technological advances should come at this person being able to influence our world so drastically. I think, I don't know. I don't have the answer, but I
definitely wish money wasn't as involved in politics. Like, that's since before these billionaires were doing it, the super PACs, like, it's just pretty disgusting. And that's where, like, you see these decisions being made that seem mind-boggling to the average individual, and then you're just like, well, this fucking sucks because we don't count as much.
It is scary. I think just the influence, and it happens all over, but, like, you know, depending on your politics, some things may scare you more than others, but, like, I am horrified at the very clear intent of returning religion to schools. Like, separation of church and state, man. Like Louisiana, they put the 10 Commandments back in elementary school rooms. And I have a conversation actually with one of my prep cooks on this. He's a Cuban guy and very devout Christian, and he's a very level-headed person. He has no misgivings about God. He's the most accepting, loving person I've ever met, which is some of the more powerful things that religion can provide. But ultimately, what he and I agree on is the fact that the 10 Commandments aren't bad virtues. They're not bad things. But you can have those statements and you can preach those statements, but they don't have to come with the seal of the church in the classroom. Those are values that I, as an atheist, share. The fact that the church is acting as the representative figure of those values rather than just good common sense of faith, of good intent.
Or then that it's the seal of the church inside of a government-funded thing.
Exactly.
Which is like,
you know, and I'm not exactly sure like what the school voucher systems or what. I'm not super well versed in that political ring, but, you know, if they're trying to like incentivize and push people towards private schools where you can teach whatever you want, it's scary, man. I don't like.
That's the hardest part about living in the South from where I grew up, is just, it felt like during COVID a lot of the decisions Texas made were like kind of what I would call like libertarian, and I was like, this is awesome. And then it's just like decision after decision after decision that's just like supporting the Christian right, basically. And I'm like, fuck, like we had so much momentum.
Yeah.
So many people are moving here. So many people are excited about it. And it's like, but it is still like religion is, God is first here.
Yeah. Have we ever had an atheist president? There's no way, right?
I think the most extreme president was JFK, who was a Catholic. That was a huge deal back in the day. That was like a big ass problem.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like Barack isn't like openly Christian.
Right, but you'll still hear them say, may God bless America. And I mean, like, granted, I'm not about to run, nor will I expect to win, but I would actually
From Ramen Del Bar to the White House. Let's go.
I would actually have. I would have gripes with pretending to believe in. Like, I'm not going to say may God bless America. I'm just going to be like, man, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's always hard for me to give any faith into religions when I have somebody try to convince me of it. Because again, my Cuban friend and employee tries to get me to go to church with them just because like, chef, like I know you have a lot on your mind, maybe we can help you clear this up. And I'm like, homie, Jesus ain't it. It's not gonna say it's, but
I need some more Jesuses, bro.
I need some more Jesuses in here, and we're good. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I feel you on that, man.
So like it's always like confusing to me when somebody, and obviously it's still, religion is a freedom, and there's nothing wrong, and people from all over the world practice all sorts of religions, but like if a Latino person of clear indigenous descent is the person trying to convince me of Catholicism, I'm like, yo, homie, your ancestors were pillaged, burned, and raped until they believed this shit. Like your great-grandparents didn't believe in this. You are preaching the white man's religion to a white guy as a brown person, and I'm not buying it. You shouldn't buy it either. Like, I went to Korea, and there's this massive Christian community there, and it just throws me off because I'm, even at Hana World, Saturday, Sunday, there are people trying to grab you on the way in and out from the Korean Christian church to try to convert you, and I'm like, guys. Your ancestors didn't believe it. Like, so the idea that religion is also a choice is just what you were indoctrinated with as a child. If my parents had been religious, I would have grown up religiously. My parents were atheists, so I grew up atheist. And I think like the one thing I envy of religion, because I don't have to envy it for a moral compass, I have one, right? But I think believing in something bigger than yourself is a beautiful thing.
And it takes a lot of weight off the shoulders.
I could only imagine, and as the atheist who believes in ashes to ash and dust to dust, death scares me. I don't have any interpretation of an afterlife, and that is scary. So like the one thing I'm jealous of is believing that there could be something after.
I think that having children decreases that anxiety dramatically, or at least it did within me. Because one of my geneticist friends, the first thing he said to me when he found out I had Athena, he was like, "You're immortal, motherfucker." And I was like, damn, that's true on two levels, motherfucker and immortal, because the gene has continued on, and it does feel this like all of my existential angst went away. Now I have this angst for her to continue. Like not because it doesn't feel consciously because of any genetic reason, just like so much love. I just want her to experience life. I want her to have her like her favorite fucking bowl of ramen ever. I want her to get heartbroken. I want her to do all these things, but I had this kind of index when I was aggressive atheist in high school. I've moved more towards general agnosticism, but my index basically was like the most evil religions are the ones who are forced to propagate the most. Like it's almost like a cancer. So the more extreme the propagation is, the worse the religion is.
I have really almost no problem with Buddhists or Hindus, right? Like I think like the more peaceful and self-focused the religion is, the better, right? Like I put up Catholicism and Christianity right up on the same tier as Islam, right? Because we have the Inquisition, we have Crusades. They're all equally, like any religion that believes itself to be the divine purpose for being and that all others must fall under it.
And if it's within your, like, the way you grow is by going convincing other people to do it, and if you're not doing that, you're not living up to snuff as like your faith.
No, it's awful. Like it, and we're putting the 10 Commandments back in school.
So I think you said you didn't want to talk about religion and politics.
So
here we are.
So
this
ramen.
is
ramen.
Some of my favorite things to talk about.
I know.
Yeah, so do you see Jesus in your bowls of ramen?
I see Jesus's reflection when they're cleaned well.
There we go. When they're cleaned up to par.
Yeah.
I mean, to Korea's point, if we can keep down this rabbit hole, it's so interesting because Korea has, off the get, some weird stuff happened after the Korean War, where they weren't sure if they were going to have enough food in South Korean stuff, and so they sent a lot of their babies out to Europe and to the United States for adoption. And then so that created a weird existential crisis going on. Then it ended up functioning super well for a very short period of time. It grew into this, massive powerhouse. It adopted a lot of Western mores like Christianity, capitalism to a degree, and it built this kind of crazy economy for a very, very short period of time. And then it exported its culture pretty well too, like in the 2010s, through K-pop and through, food, all bong hos and food and film and all of this stuff.
Right.
And then now, if you look at Korea, it's still one of my favorite places to visit, but their replacement rate is 0.7. So for every person, there's not a kid coming. There's 2/3 of a kid.
Yeah.
The highest amount of plastic surgery to make them look more white, more Western.
Yep.
Four conglomerates control all of the business and everything that happens there. And it's just like, oh, fuck, there's actually no future here. And you said the words late stage capitalism before, which I've never totally understood. But that to me, if I look at a very quick microcosm of capitalism very, very fast with this Christian ideology, seems to be maybe that's what that is.
I think the best way I could write down late stage capitalism would be the idea that the growth has become stagnant. So rather than looking up, the companies start looking down and they start squeezing. Rather than building, they start squeezing.
Yeah.
Right.
Extraction versus creation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's whether it's layoffs or downsizing, all of these things, right? It's just maximizing profits, right? How can we squeeze profits out of this thing? Because we no longer have vertical growth. Now we just have to tighten up the ship, right? Yeah. And that's ultimately when stagnation happens. It was such a, when I visited Korea, it was the week of the impeachment trial for the president of Korea over he declared martial law. I don't remember exactly what over, whether they were trying to...
I feel like it was during elections.
It may have been during elections, but the president declared martial law, and then the parliament very shortly after declared his martial law unlawful. And then they essentially nabbed him, and he was on trial. And right outside my hotel door, there were two protests going on in town, one pro and one anti the president. I didn't know the politics of him, but the president was, the camp that was pro Korean president was also pro Trump. So it was it was aggressively the older Korean population that they were pro this president. So clearly they were cool with the military crackdown to preserve the things they were. Yeah. And then 4 blocks the other way was this youthful protest of pro impeachment. They were like, yes, impeach this guy. And then the LGBTQ flags are out. The population is drastically younger. Yeah. And, this is clearly a clear divide. And granted, the youthful protest was actually tenfold the size of the elderly one. And the elderly one, it kind of almost felt like, I could send you the videos of it later, but it was genuinely almost felt like a scene out of what you'd think would be like a propaganda setup in North Korea. So they have a bunch of chairs all lined out on the street in this big stage with a projector, a TV, and it's just blasting the news cycle to hold it live. But then they have there's in between speeches, there's a singer on stage, and then they're just doing chants, and they have the elderly waving flags. And I was like, yo, that's some serious indoctrination there. Because then on the cross, a few blocks down, it's this massive protest saying this guy's corrupt, this and that, and then it's only the quiet elderly that are sitting there still pro this guy. I'm like, there's a disconnect here. Yeah, but there's a disconnect everywhere. Look at us.
I know, but you could probably write a fucking PhD on that though, on an image.
Yeah,
full on, just understanding that. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. How do you think? Let's transition back into food.
Yes.
So I think that if we look at art as a reaction to politics, and art can often commentate on politics, or can at least express where people are at culturally. You were able to catch or like position yourself and do really well fusion between Mexico and Japan, but as an American.
Yeah.
What do you think that says about what young people or what the internet or what people want today?
Well, I think, I carry the weight of making sure that people don't think I'm trying to appropriate anything.
Yeah.
I did grow up in Mexico. I'm a permanent resident of there, and every time I express that to my staff or to a friend, be like, like, I don't want people to think that like I'm claiming to be something I'm not. They always say like, no, dude, like you're an honorary beaner. Like, first of all, you have the literal beaner card in your wallet. You have a Mexican green card.
Yeah.
And two, you speak better Spanish and write better Spanish than half of us.
Yeah.
So I don't ever try to claim anything. I've had so many instances over the past 2 years of people trying to like delve into the appropriation aspect of it. I had one person reach out and say, I just wanted to ask if there are any actual Japanese people working here because I like to only spend my money with authentic businesses. Now, obviously that ticks me off, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I tell her like, no, we are a multicultural team. There are not currently any Japanese people, but we are comprised of Americans, Guatemalans, Mexicans, Cubans, right? Like, we have white people in here. We have brown people here. I had an Indian person on the team for a while, Chicanos, all of it.
If any Japanese people lived in Austin, maybe you could have them work there.
So, and it was frustrating because, that just disqualifies the work of all sorts of cooks.
Sure.
So are you going to give the immigrant cook crap if they, after working 15 years in a sushi restaurant, take a dab at opening a sushi place?
Yeah.
Are you disrespecting all of the hard work of that immigrant worker that came in and, or is it just because it's me, the white guy, doing it? And I understand like the significance of being born into a better circumstance than someone else, and the kind of outwardly view we have of people and whether they're doing enough for society based on what they were born with. But ultimately, I told this girl, like, every restaurant in America is run by Latinos.
Yeah.
Your favorite Japanese restaurant, nothing but Latinos back there.
Yeah.
They're the backbone of so many different industries of manual physical labor. Mm-hmm. So also, I could pull a homeless person off the street in Japan and ask them to make me ramen. It's going to taste like dog shit.
Yeah.
But you're telling me it's authentic because a Japanese person made it?
Yeah.
I ended the argument kind of just saying, like, look, authenticity isn't a race, it's an effort. Mm-hmm. I put in care for the food. It's frustrating, but ultimately also not worth my time to argue, because I know that the karmic balance I need is simply to take care of the people along the way that helped me get there.
Yeah.
Right? My restaurant doesn't take advantage of workers in order to get me further than I would otherwise. It builds them up. It helps take care of them. And ultimately, like right now, without profit shares, because I'm not giving myself that money, it's all headed towards a war chest of investment, or it's been paying off loans. Yeah. Without profit shares, my monthly income is $4K. My sous chef makes $6 on a monthly basis. Yeah. So all of my employees, if they're doing more than if they're doing more than 50 hours, their paychecks are bigger than mine. Yeah. Right? So now ultimately this is a long game. This is the end game investment for me, right? For sure. One day my business will take care of me. Yeah. Only after I get through rounds 1, 2, and 3 of taking out loans. Yeah. And then funneling all profits towards that. I will eventually one day see a big chunk of change, and I can sit back and breathe finally and choose what I actually just want to do with my time as opposed to what I have to do with my time. Yeah. Because it does suck the life out of it, having to do things versus wanting to do things. And I still want to do this, but even combining the want with a have still takes the fun out of it to a degree. Yeah. So, but going back more into like a positive light of the fusion, I think like some of my favorite customers will always be people who have spent time in either both Mexico or Japan. Like one of my close friends, Luis, he, a Mexican, lived multiple years in Japan. So coming back and seeing this create something so unique for him that it feels like it belongs to him. Yeah. And it also fits this other passion of his. So, ultimately I cook for myself, and if that resonates well with somebody, then perfect. That's all it's supposed to be. I'm not going to cater to someone else's needs or restrictions because somebody like them should be doing that cares and is passionate about that. I'm not passionate about vegan food. I'm not passionate about gluten-free. I don't care. I just don't. And I shouldn't have to feel bad. Not every business is meant for every person. There's more than enough people in Austin for me to not have to cater to the specifics.
Was that person Japanese?
No, they were half Thai and Mexican.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was thinking today, I was over at Saigon on 7th, just because it's close to here. It's really good.
Their banh mi's are great.
And they do like, I really like their shrimp skewers. Like after workout, you get like 4 of them. They're delicious and like tons of protein. But I'm sitting at the bar and it's 100% Latinos in the back. And I'm like, it would have been sick if this was like a Vietnamese Mexican fusion. Like I would have loved to have like the Latinos in there, like influencing.
Influencing. So there's actually a restaurant in Dallas called Chris and John's. And they do Vietnamese Mexican fusion. Now, without bringing it as a criticism, they have a very different approach to how they do it. They're not necessarily combining. Their fusion is more so this than this, right? They essentially have like a burrito that you can dip in pho broth, and they have birria bao buns instead of just birria quesadillas, right? So really cool, fun, trendy fusion. Now, granted, they're extraordinarily successful, so one would have to assume that the food is at least delicious, regardless of what it's trying to do. Because, I can spend all the time in the world defending why Ramen del Barrio succeeds because of how intricate the fusion is and how delicately placed together everything is. If the food sucked, it wouldn't matter. The food is good, which means even if Chris and John's fusion isn't the most intricately put together, the food is clearly delicious, and that's all that matters to convince the consumer to come back for more. So just because it's casual fusion versus taking itself too seriously fusion, if the food's delicious, it doesn't matter. They're probably doing hell a lot better than I am. With their, I mean, they got their brick and mortar first, so they're doing awesome. And like, I can't wait to go up there and try that food. It's a different approach. It's more casual, right? Like it's spring rolls filled with Mexican ingredients or vice versa, and it still looks delicious. It's gonna be a fun time no matter what.
This might be I might be totally off base here. But one thing I feel like I've observed when a food truck blows up in Austin, then gets a brick and mortar, I've felt like sometimes the energy is sucked out of it. Have you witnessed that, or do you think that's just a false? The epitome of the one I'm thinking of is Garage Mahal.
I haven't tried them.
I just, like, you never even had one as a food truck? Okay. I don't necessarily think this is true, and I go there all the time, so I'm not like dogging these people, but it feels that way a little bit with Paperboy.
I haven't been there either.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a minute since I kind of stuck my head out from the cave, right? We become creatures of comfort and habit, and for me,
or of work.
I think like for me, I maybe try a new restaurant maybe once a month right now. Other than that, it's kind of routine. It's the places that are easy to me, comfort to me, like I get home at the end of the day, I don't even really want to I don't want to go out. I definitely don't want to go out, so I'm either ordering something or I'm bringing something home from work, and I have the places that I rely on. Shout out Poke House over on Research Boulevard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Poke House.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah.
Do you know Dom, who did like Tiny Diner? He's cool. He'd be something I think worth connecting with. Are you doing any more collabs?
Yes, I don't have official release dates for some of them. We're still in the R&D phase. So granted, like we could talk about it, but it's not even necessarily set in stone. Okay. I'm currently working with Kareem of KG Barbecue.
Hell yeah.
To do something. My take on it is, I kind of want to focus on the, granted he is specific to the Egyptian element of cuisine, and I not geographically and politically tuned in, but my approach because anytime I do a pop-up, I want it to make sense. There needs to be a reason for it, right? It's why you don't see me just partnering with a random Indian restaurant, or like there are some, like I remember I received an offer from Soup Leaf Hot Pot to do a pop-up, and I'm like, I love you guys, like I actually enjoy eating here, but ultimately I don't see the need or reason for it being right. Like yes, it could actually be like financially a great day for both of us, but it has to still have purpose, because that's how seriously I take it, right? Like that's everything is a story. It's a growth. It has to mean something, you know? So I think also it was before they closed Cece Tong, Zoe Tong.
Zoe Tong.
Zoe Tong, right. Chef Cece. But Zoe Tong.
They already closed?
They did.
Dude, that Barton Springs Road is
cursed,
tough.
I've heard. But I mean,
Yeah.
just no parking.
Yeah.
And also the kitchen itself, like I saw the property, their rent must have been $20K.
Yeah, I think the rent on that spot is just
Brutal.
nothing can survive.
Brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I just, I don't know. Maybe they'll do multi-use apartments, demo it eventually.
Yeah. I feel like that's the only option because
yeah.
that's so expensive.
You need residents above it
Yeah.
to then support it downstairs, I think.
Yeah.
No. And the food was really nice, but it's just, that's such a tough spot.
Yeah.
I've heard that so many things have come and gone since the very first thing actually vacated that had stability.
We're going to move to the private feed for the last part of this. So if you guys want to listen to that, go to skmp.supercast.com.